I've been there, face to face with darkness, thoughts of ending it all, emptiness. I didn't think I'd make it out, but prayer wasn't just something I tried, it became my lifeline. Across the world, people have been healed from diseases doctors gave up on, pulled out of addiction, depression, even set free from the grip of the occult and demon torment. When everything felt hopeless, prayer did what nothing else could, and some people are still standing today because they surrendered their situation to the only one who never stopped listening. Maybe you're afraid to pray. Maybe you've never prayed before. Maybe you don't know how to pray. We're going to touch on the subject of prayer, its importance, and how, by us posting a video, also how important prayer is. So after 15 years on my YouTube channels, I started praying at the end of my vlogs, and it's kind of like a new thing, and I just did it out of nowhere. A lot of people were like, wow, thank you so much for praying for me. And it kind of got some positive feedback. And I mean, that's not why I prayed. I didn't pray for any sort of prideful. What?
Sorry, honestly, you were afraid that after doing that, you were going to get tons of hate. I remember now, he always, after he posts a video, he's, it's something creators do, right? Even years ago when I would go to Facebook, you just go on and you want to see what people are saying. And he does that all the time. And I remember him going to that and he was like, I'm going to have so much hate. I'm going to have so much hate.
It was quite the opposite.
It was quite the opposite. And he was so surprised. He's like, babe, like I expected so much hate compared to the positive that he got. And he's like, I'm getting a lot of love on this. Like, that's so surprising, especially considering the type of content that I'm known for. And it was
very different.
Yeah, it was very different. So that was pretty cool. And, today we woke up and we were both, he was actually still a little bit asleep, and I was looking at the comments that we got overnight.
Oh my gosh, you woke me up.
Because I get messages, that say we got comments. And so I looked and I was like, I woke him up. I was crying and I was like, babe, you've got to see this. I said, you're not going to believe some of these comments. And it just touched my heart so deeply.
And she's right. I couldn't believe it.
Because it was just amazing. And there was so many positive comments, but a couple of them just like literally brought me to tears. And we wanted to highlight those because, here we're talking about praying. And it's not something that is easy from somebody like you who had the platform he had. It's a lot of people are afraid to share their faith, you know?
And I was going to piggyback off that. Not just me, but the reason why I share this, there's people in their workplace that they're terrified to pray. Perhaps that, their coworkers are atheists, or they're people that you wouldn't even think would appreciate some sort of prayer. But there is a comment here. And I don't think we highlighted it because I feel like this comment needs its own video.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is another reason why you don't stop praying. There was a woman, and I'll share the comment, that her brother, was it her brother? No, it was her husband. It was her husband. Her husband was sick, and he was getting ready to take his last breath. He was dying. He was an atheist. He was a non-believer. I believe she was a non-believer.
I don't know. She wasn't.
She wasn't.
No, she wasn't. He was an atheist, but she was not, because he asked her to pray for him.
I'm not 100%, but she was asking us, do atheists go to heaven? And maybe you have that question too. But she had asked somebody, and so did he, before he was dying, to pray over him. So right before he died.
So he asked her to pray for him.
I thought it was a chaplain.
And then
I got to read this comment again.
No, we have it highlighted. But what I'm saying is he asked her to pray for him. She was a believer. He was not.
Okay.
And so he asked her to pray for him. And then he also got the chaplain to pray for him.
Okay. That's
right. Yeah. So the both of them, he asked.
I like your version better.
Right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's exactly.
Yeah, he asked for his wife to pray for him, and then asked if the chaplain would come in and pray for him.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and read this comment. But she says, people don't have to agree with your beliefs. And this is on the video that I was talking about people unfollowing me for a prayer. Oh my gosh, it was so many people were like, I'm never going to, even some atheists commented on the video. They're like, I'm never going to unfollow you, even if you pray.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool. Anybody out there can give me clarity on this would be very appreciated. I lost my husband 6 months ago. He was atheist. When he knew it was hopeless and he was going to die, he asked me to pray for him, which I already was. He asked for the chaplain to pray with him. My question is, was that enough? Did God take his soul into his arms and grant him peace? All right, if you got a Bible, I mean, you could download one if you don't. I'm kind of old school. I like turning the pages, but I also like going on my phone from time to time. So we're going to go to the Gospel of Luke. And I actually touched on this very same story in our first ever podcast episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about the thief on the cross. Now, when Jesus was crucified, basically for nothing, there was 2 others that were crucified next to him. That's why when you see depictions of like the cross or Jesus, you'll always see 2 other crosses next to him. So in chapter 23, verse 39 is where it starts. And this is the thief that was hanging on the cross next to him. He said this, "Aren't you the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other criminal rebuked him. "Don't you fear God?" Okay, that wasn't the thief on the cross. In other words, there was 2. Remember I said there was 2. "Don't you fear God?" So obviously he was somebody who was brought up in like Jewish religion. You know, most weren't many atheists back in those days, but a lot more religion for sure. "We are punished justly, for we are getting what our deeds deserve." These were some bad men, and they, especially that guy, he was already convicted. And he was trying to convict the other guy, like, hey, like, you're a bad guy too. You know what I mean? Like, you don't deserve to be saved off this cross, no matter who can save you. Wait until you see what happens here. But this man has done nothing wrong. He's not talking about the other thief or whoever. He's talking about Jesus. Then that same man, the thief on the cross, he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." In other words, this guy was gonna die. He was dying. They were all 3 being hung on a cross. And if you don't know how barbaric and awful this death, I mean, it was literally the worst punishment you can get. And it wasn't just like a regular death. It was awful. You ever seen the movie Passion of the Christ?
Yeah, it's extremely emotional.
Jesus suffered. Well, check out what Jesus said to him. "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." In other words, when you die, you're forgiven and you're coming with me. I'm dying for you today.
Well, and I think that also, not only was he saying, "Please remember me," but he stood up for Jesus in that. I mean,
He did.
Like,
and he was checking himself.
Yeah.
And the one next to him. He was basically saying like, hey, we are here because we deserve to be here. We deserve this death.
But this guy didn't do anything wrong.
This person that asked this question about prayer, they prayed. This atheist knew that he was in a hopeless situation. So for some of you atheists out there that believe there's nothing, there is 100% something on the other side. There's going to come a time where your atheism is going to be met with death. And I hope that you do the thing that this man did. Even his wife was still a little bit scared as to where he went. And I'm going to tell you right now, I know where he went, because he recognized that he was in a hopeless situation. He recognized that he was lost, and he asked for prayer. I believe he repented. I mean,
Well, I would think that that's why he asked for prayer. But before I would answer this lady's question, I would have to know what that prayer entailed. Did he accept Jesus? Did he, believe in that moment that God was his savior, or that Jesus was the savior.
According to scripture,
Mm-hmm.
though, I mean, we had this thief that was on a cross next to Jesus.
Right.
Like, he was like, can you remember me? You know, he was checking himself first, letting him know that he needed Jesus, and Jesus forgave him.
Right.
Yes, I would need more context on that subject. Maybe we could interview her in a future video. I'm hoping that chaplain led him through a prayer.
An acceptance prayer. Yeah, that's what I would assume.
Right.
That's what I would assume.
But like I said, this is why you don't stop praying, because somebody, even on their deathbed, can be like, hey, can you pray for me? Can you? And I mean, you never know if they're even just praying on their own. You know, God, like, I'm sorry. Can you remember me? Can I come with you to paradise?
And the whole thing is because of the fact that we never know when we're going to be faced with that.
No.
You know, that's why we're doing what we're doing, because we don't want you to wait till your last breath. You may not know when your last breath is. You may not have that opportunity. And, you know, it's just, like I said, it's one of those things where we're here to lead people to Christ so that they can have an eternal life. And that is why we pray, because through our prayers, we're going to share a few more comments here.
There was a lot.
There was a lot. Yeah, and I read I mean, I don't know. We've really tried to read all the comments. We can't always respond to everything, but I mean, there was 1,500 comments on this video.
Can I share the comment that brought you to tears when you were reading this morning?
Absolutely. And it was the first one. I was just like, I literally woke him up and was like, babe, like, oh my gosh, you have got.
And this is why I'm not going to stop praying, because of stories like this. So here's the comment right here. It says, Omar and Shelly, thank you for just being there. I woke up this morning contemplating suicide all day, and I came across this video. I watched up to the end. The prayer you said, whoa, you thanked God. And speaking of breath, in my prayer, and I say this a lot just because I'm thankful for the little things that we kind of take for granted, you know, like having kidneys.
Yeah, in moments that you feel like your life is falling apart and you don't feel like you have any blessings at all, you know, you woke up. You have fresh water. You have fresh water. I mean, there's people that in third world countries that don't even have clean water. And to get clean water, they have to walk miles. I mean, it's crazy.
And sometimes it's not really even clean water.
And so and so it's just, yeah, you were thankful and said that in that prayer, thankful for the air in my lungs.
And we're going to talk about in the scriptures, you know, because people were asking, hey, Jesus, how do you pray? And we'll get into that too. But, and this is something that I do. I always start my prayer with thanking God. And that's what Jesus, not that it was a commandment, but he was like, you know, hey, when you pray like this.
So it's scriptural because it says, you know, with thanksgiving.
And I think that's so important because it keeps you grounded. It keeps you humble.
Well, we don't want to always just be asking for things. We want to thank him for what
we already have. Like a spoiled child.
And we want to thank him for what we already have because, you know, just like if you're a parent, you don't want your kids always only coming to you to ask for something. Like you want them to just come to you to be with you and to hang out with you and to want to spend time with you.
Let me ask you this. When was the last time, and I'm not saying this to you, but, you know, maybe the viewers, when was the last time you picked up the phone, called your parents, and thanked them? Not even just parent. Maybe you have an aunt or grandmother or grandfather that took on that role of being a parent in your life. You know, when was the last time you actually thanked them for that? You know, like I would be blown away. And sometimes my kids have come to me, and I'm sure you have had this too, where they're like, you know what? I didn't realize how hard it was being a parent. And, you know, thank you. Thank you so much for being a parent and for taking care of me, for putting yourself last and putting me first. And, you know, sometimes we kind of struggle with that with God too. You know, when was the last time you thanked God? Start every prayer, I promise you, with gratefulness, humbleness, thanking God. And I promise you, your relationships, your happiness, your peace, everything will change. But in this comment here, it says, whoa, you thanked God, quote unquote, for the air in your lungs. And that was something that was in my prayer. Like, God, thank you so much for the air in my lungs. And it was kind of random, but it reached this person.
It wasn't random.
It seemed random.
It was meant to reach this person.
It wasn't random. And that really got me good. After thinking that I would forcefully stop the air in my lungs for good, I started crying and turned my suicidal thoughts over to God because of your prayer. And Shelly, thank you. Thank you. This is why you do not give up on your prayers. This is why you don't stop praying. This is why you do not have fear for praying. If you're scared to pray in public, or maybe before your meal that you're about to eat, because you're afraid that this is one thing I struggle with. I'm not talking to, just any individuals out there. This is something that for a long time, here on my YouTube channel, I was scared to pray because I didn't want to offend people.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Read the rest of this comment.
Because this is what happens. Look at this. Somebody who was going to end their life just by a simple prayer at the end of my video. And my video that I posted had nothing to do with, it was literally just showing, we went to a ghost town that, not full of ghosts, but we went to a town that was abandoned in the middle of nowhere. It was really cool. It was called the Grafton Ghost Town. Oh, and I have another story about that I'm going to share with you after this one. But the video is it's just a regular cool travel vlog. And at the end of it, I'm like, I've been getting a little backlash. I've had some people unfollow me because I do these prayers. And, I don't mean to offend anybody, yada, yada, yada. Whatever. And then this happens. And this is why I will continue to do this, because not for me or my own glory, not for vainglory. This is for God's glory. And this is for people that are out there that are lost.
And they're hungry. There's a lot of people in this broken, awful world right now that are
more so now.
They're just hungry. There's a lot of empty souls out there because nothing from this world will fill the voids that you're feeling. Nothing from this world will fill those voids. People are getting, they shove things down their throat, trying to feel fulfilled, trying to feel loved, wanted, desired, just
social media,
all of these things. And social media, I think, has made these feelings even worse. In a lot of ways, but it's just like, there's so many people that are hungry and thirsty for something more. And they're thinking, God, there's got to be something more than this. And there absolutely is. And so if you don't share and pray for others, and of course, having a platform where you can do this. I've done it for years on Facebook. It's like, openly pray for people and talk about it. But it's like, if you don't put it out there, these people, how are they going to find it? These people aren't going to walk through church doors. They're not going to walk through church doors. Some
of them are afraid that
some of them are afraid. Some of them had a bad experience. Some of them just listen to what other people say about religious people. And just for the record, we've had some comments like that on the videos, and we're not religious. Religious people, religion is very different than a relationship with God. And I remember growing up not knowing the difference. I don't know about you, but I didn't know about the relationship with God part. I was brought up in religion, and that is one of the reasons why I fell away from that religious belief, because my sister passed away, and I'm like, and all the things that happened after that, I'm thinking, if there's a God, like, why would all this happen? Religion it's not even real. And that's why I fell away. But it was when I learned about the relationship,
the reality.
And I was like, wow. Like,
this is reality. This isn't religion. This is reality.
So different. So different. So we're not religious. So for all of you who said you hate religious people, well, great. Then we're not in that group.
Thank you for not hating us.
Thank you for not hating us, because we're not religious.
Let's read the rest of the comment here, because I completely got carried away here.
You got sidetracked, but it's purposeful.
But they were very thankful that they saw our video. And hey, to God be the glory, not us.
For sure.
It's for him. Please go on, both of you, whenever you can, to share your thoughts, the gospel, etc. with us. This particular video literally was a lifesaver to me. Thanks to you too. I love you guys very much, and you two suit each other perfectly. I feel apart from following you, or I feel apart from following you.
I think it was a type error, but it says, I feel apart from following you and have been, I think they were saying they have followed him for many years now, but now feel that I have two faraway friends. Oh, I know what they're saying. They're saying they've followed you for years, and they have always felt a separation between you and them.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, it's just the way that they worded it was a little confusing. That's what that's what they were saying.
And now they feel like they have two friends,
faraway friends,
that are far away. Yeah. So, and they followed us for years. Thank you. Waiting for your next adventure, wherever it may be. We'll be here watching continuously. So I even said it.
Oh, I cried, and I can share more about that in a second.
There's people out there, and when they know that you're a Christian, and they see that you're different, they see that you're always happy, they see that you have a peacefulness that they don't have, they oftentimes will come to you when they're going through something and be like, can you pray for me? And I've had people come to me and like, hey, can you please pray for me? I mean, even when at work, clients of mine, that knew that I was a Christian, can you pray for me? And one of the biggest regrets that I have is that, in our human form, I mean, we're very forgetful. I'm very forgetful. Sometimes I would be saying my nightly prayers and thanking God for the day. And I'd be like, God, I know that there was somebody out there that asked me to pray for them, and I have no idea who they are, and I have no idea what it was even about. I forgot, but can you be with them? And so instead of doing that, if somebody asks you to pray for them, stop what you're doing right then and there, put your hands on them and be like, how about now? And just pray for them, because that's what they're wanting. And who knows what they're going through that you don't know, that they're hiding and concealing in their heart. Like this person right here that was bold enough to share publicly that they were going through something that they were going to take their own life.
Well, and you know what, something that we before we did this video, we prayed, and something that, we're not going to blast this person's name out right now, even though they did this publicly. But I said, how courageous is this person? I have a feeling is watching. So
we're going to keep praying for you.
Yeah. I just want to say, how courageous of you to be so vulnerable, putting a comment like this
for the world to see,
for the literal world to see, because it's not like he only has 10 followers, So when it comes to a channel of this size, for you to put that out there, I just want to acknowledge that. And what a big step and what a courageous move that is. And God is going to use that. He's going to use this story. He's going to use what this I encourage you to share this.
And you know what? People. You're going to be doing the same for somebody out there one day.
Yeah, for sure.
Just like Shelly said.
Yeah.
So we have another one that we're going to talk. And we're going to be kind of talking about, a touchy subject. And maybe this itself deserves its own video, but, suicide in general. So I had this woman reach out to me, and it was on Facebook. And I usually don't go into my DMs very much unless it's something that catches my eye. And I feel like, hey, especially when it's a woman, I'm like, hey, can you contact Shelly? Just out of respect for her, because I don't want her to think I'm talking to women or anything like that. But this message came across, and it was very respectful, and it was
basically, you shared it with me. We read it together.
Yeah, we read it together, and they were reaching out to me to talk to the both of us. And this poor woman, not long ago, and I'm not going to share her name. I'm going to read, let's just read the message, because I don't want to blow it out of context here and say the wrong thing. I watched you and Shelly's video, Why Did God Take Them? And this is the first video that I was telling you about that we posted. God works in mysterious ways. I lost my son March 12th of this year. to him taking his own life. I won't use the word. I have been struggling, I've been struggling, lost in pain. His name, I won't say, and he left behind 4 babies. And there was a picture that she shared with me. I'm not going to share the picture.
And I'm telling you, these little kids were like
so beautiful.
Stair steps, boom, 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 boom. They're all very close in age.
Literally these 4 babies. He was taking care of them by himself. Whew. I am lost. I quit my job thinking I have to get my grandbabies out of foster care. That's what her son, she named him, would want me to do. I am so lost in pain. I can't get myself to commit to going and getting all 3 kids out of foster care, and I'm weak. Let me just explain to you, if you've never had a child before, this is the worst imaginable pain you can go through. I mean, losing a parent is hard. Losing a loved one is hard, but losing a child isn't something that I feel anybody should ever go through. It is the worst pain. This poor woman is so, I'm not going to use depression as an emotion, but she is obviously going through some depression right now. And she is so heartbroken that she can't find the strength to get her grandbabies.
Here's the thing I will tell you, and this is just kind of like a side note, but and you may not know this, but if a parent dies, okay, we don't know where the mother is. That I don't think she said that, but
grandparents don't have rights.
Well, if a parent dies and there is no will telling the corpse where these children need to go, they go into foster care until somebody claims them. And a lot of people don't know that. And the reason that I know that is because of my career and in that industry. And they will go to foster care if you do not name somebody to take your children in a will. And unless it'll automatically go to the other parent, but if the other parent's not around, that's it.
I'm not sure exactly what happened in this scenario. I would probably put money on this poor woman being so heartbroken that she probably spent several weeks, months in her house, in her room, crying, broken, and she just isolated herself from any outside influence, including her grandbabies. And she is even heartbroken about that. She wants to get these grandbabies. So this is what I mean, she kind of went on a little bit on, how she is so hurt, and, she's shaking uncontrollably, my hands and my whole body, my nerves are shot, and she has no control over her emotions. She is broken. But at the end of this message, what does she say to me? Can you take a wild guess? Please pray for me, and thank you for sharing your experiences. And then she sent a picture of her son with these 4 beautiful baby boys. And it broke my heart, because first of all, these little boys, they don't have a mom. They just lost their father. They're basically, they're orphans.
Well, and she even shared in another message that the foster people, the state, would not even allow the children to go to their own father's funeral, which was...
We'll get to that message.
Yeah.
Because that message comes a little bit later. But I had responded. And I mean, immediately following this woman's message, I mean, after I read it, I right away said a prayer for her. And I sent her this message. My friend, I'm truly heartbroken and sorry for you having to go through what you are going through. And I shared with her this verse in Matthew 5:3-5. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And these are the Beatitudes.
The Beatitude.
And this one is one of my favorite verses. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. It is a blessing to mourn. If you're mourning, what does that show about who you are in nature? It shows that you have a heart. It shows that you love. It shows compassion. You think God doesn't see that? He mourned. He cried when he knew that he was able to raise Lazarus up from the dead. He cried with everybody. And I mean, a couple minutes later, he calls this guy out of the tomb and he's resurrected. You know what I mean? So, I mean, this is God in the flesh that came to feel our hurt and our suffering, connecting with us and letting us know that it's okay to mourn and it's actually a blessing. And then I tell her, I know how broken you must be, but trust me, Jesus is right there with his hands out to you, crying and suffering along with you, just like the verse said, where Jesus wept. I pray that he gives you the strength you need to get those grandbabies, because they do need her. They don't have anybody. I mean,
well, if you think, like I said, we don't know what happened to the mom, but they don't have a mom. Their dad just and now they're thrown in foster care. I don't even know if they're together. She didn't say that, did she? They could have been separated. Just imagine these.
They usually don't like separating.
Poor little boy, but who's going to take 4 little boys like that? I mean,
never know.
You don't know. But the point is that can you imagine their world right now? Like, gosh.
I can't imagine. I mean, being that little, like, I loved my parents. And I mean, just not having family and not having your hero, your dad, there. I mean, they gotta be definitely suffering right now. So if you can, say a prayer for this woman. We're not going to name her. We'll,
no, because she private message.
Yeah. So we'll just call her the broken woman, and God is restoring her. Because check this message out. I just watched your recent video, and this is the vlog that I was talking about. Please don't stop what you're doing. You are saving lives. It's not me. It's not me. It's God.
God's saving lives through.
But hey, he's using me, and I'm cool with that. God gave a sign or a confirmation that he is in control and everything is going to be okay. So, I mean, this is a woman that literally, she lost everything. She lost her grandbabies. She lost her son, and she had just reached what is that word you say?
End of yourself.
She reached the end of herself, and in her broken spirit and her brokenness, she got confirmation from God himself that everything is going to be okay. And this is how the message keeps going here. He is our Father and he loves us and is watching over us. I needed this sign so desperately bad to reassure my hope and faith. In this video, and this is crazy, okay? So remember I told you that in my vlog, we go to this ghost town, and
we weren't going to go there originally. We were actually going to go to Zion Park. And then we actually found this ghost town thing in the little booklet that the people had left us. And he's like, let's go here.
So she says, in this video, you go to the ghost town, and you was reading in the building that the leader of the Jesus Christ, she's talking about the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And this ghost town was actually founded
by the Mormons.
By Mormons. I'm not Mormon, by the way. And there was, in this house that we went into, there was like a creepy picture.
There were all these old pictures.
And I showed it because, it was interesting. But check this. This is going to blow your mind. In this video, you go to the ghost town, and you was reading in the building that the leader of the Jesus Christ Church, she meant to say Jesus of Latter-day Saints, because this town that is this ghost town, it was started by Mormons. We're not Mormons, but we found that the town was pretty interesting, and the historical roots, if you will. But there was a picture inside of this abandoned house that we saw for like historical evidence as to who lived there. And the guy lived there with like the 2 wives, but
he had 4 wives, actually.
Was it 4 wives?
It was 4, but he was only pictured with 2, so we don't know where the other 2 were.
So this guy's last name happened to be the same last name as the woman that's messaging me, spelled exactly the same and everything. And she said right then and there, she knew. She'd
been praying for a sign.
She had been praying.
This is a woman, being a daughter of a mom who lost 2 children, even the strongest faith has moments where it gets weak, and this woman is in a weak moment of her faith. Like, she wants to believe that God is there, but right now she's just not feeling that. And she's been praying to feel that in this moment, because of course, when you're in these moments, you want the comfort. And so she's been praying for that and praying for a sign that God is still there. And then this happens.
Same last name. She said that jolted me awake spiritually. Through you, God worked to touch my heart. Thank you. And then she put, I'm shaking, but a good shake, LOL.
Well, that's because she talked about shaking bad earlier.
Also, this is why you don't stop praying.
Yeah.
Thank you, she said, for praying for me. Like I say, God works in mysterious ways. Just got chills. God bless you. And she even added another message. And she said, I was in such a dark place, and you all restored my faith, even in all this pain. It wasn't me. Okay? Wasn't me.
She knows that it was God working through us, or she said that, you know.
I just don't want to, God, this is you. This isn't me. You're just using me. I am a messenger. I'm a vessel for you. Okay?
We've been asking God to use us, and so that's what he's doing, and this is proof, you know.
And it's important to stay grounded during those moments and not
glorify God, not yourself.
You don't want yourself to be glorified. This is not about us. This is about him and reaching the lost. And our prayer reached this woman that was so broken in her faith, so broken in her life, that I want to hear her story after the fact. I'm not going to stop praying for this woman. I mean, this is so sad. Like, I started crying reading this. She was talking about how she didn't even have enough money to bury her son. This
I want to know the name of that funeral
home. Whatever funeral home.
Honestly, I would love to put them on blast on Google.
She wants to bury her son, doesn't have enough money to, and the funeral home basically kicked her dead son out of the funeral.
So now picture this, okay? She had her son's body brought to this funeral home, and I don't know if you ever had to bury anybody, but they give you like a window of time to pay for things. And she didn't have the money to do it. She only had come up with so much money, and they literally said, yes, your son's got to go.
That's heartbreaking.
There's no words for that. And so this woman had to take her son's body to a less expensive funeral home. All I got to say is God will take care of them. Like, oh my goodness. Like, the thought of how heartless that is just mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing to me.
So her last message to me, it said, the devil has been beating me down, and I was letting him win until you. Like I said, not me. It's him. It's God. I used to have so much faith. I believed I could move mountains. Thank you for helping me see that there is hope. I believe in miracles again. And this is why you don't stop praying. What's that miracle that you're searching for? What is that happiness and peace that you've been searching for your entire life? But maybe you just don't know how to get it. Maybe there's something separating you from that, whether it's something that you're holding on to, some sort of addiction. Maybe it's a relationship you're going through. Maybe it's pain in your body. Maybe it's pain in your mind. Maybe it's depression, anxiety, whatever it is. I pray in Jesus' name you are released from that and you come to him. But how does that happen? It happens with you first. Coming to the cross, identifying that you can't do it on your own, reaching out to Jesus and asking him, will you remember me? But not just that, true repentance. And we're going to also talk about that.
While we're on the topic of miracles, because you said, she thinks this was a miracle, why don't we go to the next comment?
Oh, we do have
brought me
comments.
The next one.
We have so much of this video. There might have to be a couple parts of this.
I read this one, right? And it brought me to tears. And then we read this comment from this lady, and that moved us deeply. But then there was another one. And
I love this one. I love this comment.
So would you like, you want me to read it? Or are you going to read it? Or what do you want?
Let me see if I can blow it up. Unless you got your glasses with you.
I have my glasses. But that's for close up. I can see far away.
I'm 43 years old. I just had to get a prescription for readers.
Yes.
And this is why I'm like making fun of my lady for, but I think she looks really cute with her readers on.
Well, yeah, but I lost my good ones.
It's just, I find it, she'll be like looking at something. She's like, what does this say? And she'll be writing a text message to somebody and it says like,
It's all
jabba doobity doobity, habba hootie. I'm like, babe, that doesn't say, hey, when are we going to Taco Bell later? She don't go to Taco Bell, but
I don't eat it.
So do you need your readers for that?
I can see far away. Okay. Just close up. Readers are for close up. Thank you very much. And you should know this because you wear them.
No, I know, but I mean.
I know. He's messing with me. It's okay.
All right, for it.
Omar, I just wanted to let you know what your prayer in your last video did for me. I'm currently 30 weeks pregnant. Our only car we have had for years decided to completely break down on us, and the mechanic told us it's basically scrap. We live paycheck to paycheck and don't even have enough to put anything down on a new or used car. I was so stressed and depressed about how my man was going to get work and how I was going to get all of my appointments, and more importantly, how I would be able to bring my new baby home. We live hours from any family, and they also struggle financially and couldn't help us. I felt defeated, like there was nothing we could do. Without work, we couldn't be able to pay rent and would be homeless with a 6-year-old and a newborn. I prayed and cried. This made me so sad. I prayed and cried all day. And when I was trying to distract myself, I saw you posted and I watched your video. I cried and prayed along when you prayed for everyone in tough financial spots. The next day, get this, guys, my man's boss, the owner of the company that he works for, told us that he would be donating an old work truck for us to be for free. I knew it was God and your prayer. I didn't see a solution for our situation, but God did, in big letters. I'm so thankful, and I couldn't help but to think of your prayer in that moment. I just want to thank you so much, Omar, and of course, God. If people don't want to watch you because you pray, that's their loss. They miss out on great content and a great message. Keep doing what you do.
Amen to that. And that goes to show you why you shouldn't stop praying.
And so, picture this. I'm sitting there, he's sleeping. I'm like, crying. I've got tears rolling.
That's when you hold me up from.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had just read the other one, so this was like, you've got to see this, like how powerful. And do you mind if I share?
Go for it.
So, guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. He has been questioning himself about posting these videos with the prayers.
Yeah.
And when we first posted this video yesterday,
it's kind of an experiment.
He always has expectations. Okay. We all do. We're human. So he had some expectations, and he was fearful to begin with. And then when he posted it, it was starting to get to him. He's like, oh, maybe I should take this down. I'm like, do not take this video down. I think for the first time in our relationship, I might have even got a little salty. I said, do not take this video down.
They do that Karen look.
I was like, do not take this video down. Do not. I said, remember what we talked about. If there's only one person that this video touches and brings them to Jesus, then we have done our job. And I said, don't you dare get caught up in that. Don't you dare. And it was so funny because he's like, you're right. And then to wake up to this. Mm-hmm. And all he was looking for was confirmation that he was doing the right thing, because he was scared. And honestly, I was worried for him in a way that I knew that he was taking a big leap. I mean, this is his livelihood, and it's risky because people are so judgmental, especially online. So I was like, babe, this is your confirmation right here. This is all the confirmation that you should need. And then here we are recording another video.
So the message is, it's for me too.
Yeah.
Don't stop praying, because I was kind of questioning that. Like Shelly was saying, should I even be doing this? Should I just, I don't know, maybe do something different with my channel? But I was telling Shelly this. And it was kind of a profound moment. And I'm going to do a video just on this subject also. But it was about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years into my YouTube career. Because I originally started the channel doing like comedy sketches with my kids. And it was all fun. It was all kid friendly. And
Kind of like little skits and
yeah, and some of it was kind of PG and just kind of goofy stuff. And then I started doing these prank videos that they weren't like the annoying prank.
they were hilarious.
They were actually pretty funny, and it was just me making a fool out of myself in public, not necessarily like humiliating people like some people call pranks nowadays. But I started doing these videos. My son Ethan,
Mm-hmm.
and little kids are very selfish, and I think he was going through a selfish moment, and it was I want to say he was like 5 or 6, and I felt like it was time to show him what a good life that he actually lives.
Mm-hmm.
And not just him, but my other children too. But, he had like a little bit of a selfish moment. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to punish him for it, but I'm going to show him that there's people out there that are less fortunate. And we go, and I had like $100 in my bank account. I took that whole $100. I went to Kmart, of all places. This is when Kmart was open. And I bought a bunch of like $10 or $15 sneakers. And some of them were actually really nice for the price. And we go, and I show him people that are homeless. And for a little kid, they really don't understand that. Like, what do you mean these people don't have a home? Like, this is like, doesn't everybody have a home? So I wanted to show him that side to our culture. You know what I mean? And there's cultures in other worlds, third world countries, that they have it much worse than our homeless people here in the United States. You know what I mean? Some of them, at least they're being fed. There's soup kitchens. There's people like me that had $100 to their name and went and bought some of them shoes. There's people out there that are working 3, 4 jobs and they can't even afford shoes. I'm not here to judge. I just wanted to help, and I wanted to show Ethan how he can help. So we went to our homeless community, and we brought a bunch of shoes with us, various sizes. I'm like, hey, let's go and bless these people. A lot of them don't realize, or a lot of people in general, they think, hey, I want to do something for some homeless people. Let's give them some money. Let's give them some food. Let's, you know what? And if you don't have those things, and if you want to get involved in homeless community or homeless outreach, just go over there and talk to them. A lot of these people are missing that human connection. And for whatever reason, maybe that's why they're homeless as well, but there's always something you can do. But shoes was a big thing to me, because I'm like, these people do a lot of walking. Here in Florida, it's hot, so I mean, they probably go through socks. So it was also a thing to get socks. So anyways, long story short, this could be a whole video on itself, but this is how I started. It was today that I realized that from the beginning, God had a plan, because this was my first viral video. And I'm sure there's somebody listening to this podcast or maybe watching this video that you've seen this video and didn't even realize that it was me. It was actually shared by so many people online. Hulk Hogan, rest in peace. He shared this video. What made this video go ultra viral wasn't me sharing homelessness with my son or anything. It was this guy, and I'm not trying to take any credit. This is not me. And I didn't even know at the time that I was even being recorded, but I go and give this guy some shoes, and I noticed that he was in pretty rough shape. Not only did he not have shoes on, he didn't even have a shirt on. And I'm like, man, you know what? Like, this poor guy, like, can I pray for you? And I gave him the shirt off my back. I guess that's like, when you say like, oh,
I give you the shirt off my back.
I give you the shirt off my back. I just wanted to give him shoes. You know what I mean? And this went like ultra viral. And my very first viral video was me praying. And it was something that I drifted away from. And I mean, it wasn't.
Well, we were talking before we did, this video, and we were just talking about like, his channel, and we were talking about some of the comments that were a little bit negative, and saying, oh, people are unsubscribing because your content is nothing like it used to be, and you're all preachy now, and some of these comments that were a little bit negative.
But what people don't realize is my first video to get 1 million views. Millions. Actually, I think it got 1 billion on Facebook.
Yeah, so he was like,
was a prayer.
Yeah, he was like, babe. He's like, it just hit me. He goes, my very first viral video was me praying for a homeless guy and giving him the shirt off my back. And so immediately, because we were talking, there's a lot of people that watched your main channel that also follow your vlog channel, and they were commenting about how how did you go from paranormal and ghost hunting to this, and now you don't believe in ghosts anymore, and blah blah blah, and they were saying all this kind of stuff.
I'm gonna come on. There's gonna be
where he's definitely doing a video on that, but it's it's kind of funny because it's like, that's not how I started. He says again, I didn't start there. And then I was like, oh, babe, I was like, you originally were given this platform
for that,
for God's work. And then you met he derailed because he was getting chastised for doing it.
Well, here's the thing. I started getting these comments, about exploiting people, and you're just exploiting
for views and
homeless people for your own financial gain. And I'm like, bro, I had $100 in my bank account. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, I don't care. I really genuinely care about these people. And if I can encourage those, and here's the thing, a lot of people don't see the emails, the messages that I got behind the scenes where they went out and they started
their own ministry,
a shoe ministry. And this is one thing, because I did a couple videos doing this, and it led, this viral video that I did about giving shoes to homeless people became a thing where I started going and ministering to people, like random people in the streets, washing their feet. And that's a biblical thing too.
You need to show
about like the
why. Those videos were amazing.
You'd have to be like a spiritually mature Christian that has read the Bible and to understand about. So do I have a minute to share? So one of the hospitality things is if you didn't know, Israel and like the Middle East, like it's full of rocks and full of sand, and people wore sandals in those days,
or barefoot,
or they were barefoot. So their feet were very dirty.
Grocery store feet.
They were very dirty.
There's some humor in there.
Full of, I mean, think about when you go to the beach, and honestly, I don't think that's, but what do you like to do when after you've like been walking in the sand all night, like, or all day, sorry, and how you go to the little stations and you like rinse off your feet, and then you get in the car and there's still a bunch of sand on your feet somehow. So it was a thing that it was what's the word? It was a neighborly thing to wash people's feet, and that, like, if they came to your house, they would sit there.
There would be a bowl of water for them to wash their feet before they.
But here, check this. Jesus was washing his disciples' feet. And he kind of made it like a commandment, and it's almost like a thing that has been forgotten in modern Christianity, to like washing of the saints' feet. The church that I went to, they used to do this, and it was like a thing. I always was like, why are they washing each other's feet? So I mean, we did this like for homeless people. We like, and some of them had some pretty rough feet, but you know how good it felt to them to have their feet, like, after being in dirty, sweaty socks for a month, having shoes with holes on, we've washed their feet, rubbed their feet, put lotion on their feet, minister to them, put fresh socks, fresh shoes on them. And it was just like a thing. And I loved it. And it was something that, I mean, it was like, wow, I'm doing something that Jesus did. Like, Jesus humbled himself. The King. Christ is King. The King. Could you imagine the King of all kings getting on his hands and knees and washing someone's feet?
But that's the point. He did not put himself above.
He didn't.
The peasants who washed the feet.
No.
He became one.
Like, think of like the president of the United States, or, you know, what's the king? Because we still have like royalty.
Well, it's like the Pope.
The-
There's like
Yeah, like some of these people there. Yeah, like imagine them getting on.
people think of.
Imagine them humbling themselves to that, and I think we need more of that. You know, to be honest, is like, I mean, not that the feet washing thing was like, but the symbolism behind it, the humbleness.
Well, peasants were the ones who washed feet.
Right.
And so that was the whole thing. It was peasants that washed feet, and here's the Messiah washing people's feet.
Pretty deep.
Yeah, very much.
So I made some videos doing this, and I started getting like a great deal of hate for some of these videos, and honestly, it was the devil, because I should have kept doing these videos because God called me to do them.
Well, and the fact that your first viral video, which basically boosted your platform, because prior to that, you didn't really have that many followers. Like, you were just kind of a beginning YouTuber, and YouTube was fairly new back then. And
I didn't know what I was.
You didn't know what you were doing, like you said. You were just having fun. I believe you even said that you started out just because you were having fun with your kids and recording their lives and things like that. But you had that platform. Your original massive boost in followers came from this type of video. And then it was so funny because as we were talking, like, wow, babe, and you totally fell away from that.
I did. But here's the thing, for a short time, I mean, it wasn't, I should have kept doing it, but I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep doing my shoe ministry, but I'm not going to really record it. You know what I mean? When honestly, I should have kept recording it because it
inspired other people.
It was inspiring people. Like, somebody had messaged me and they said that they started like this huge ministry, and I forgot what state it was, but they were doing the same thing, like giving homeless people shoes, and they took it a notch, several notches, I mean, of what I was financially capable of doing. So, I mean, it was pretty uplifting seeing that, like, my video where just showing my kid about homelessness and like, hey, let's give some homeless people some shoes, inspired somebody that much. And I mean, and this is another reason why you don't give up on what God's called you to do, including prayer, because, hey, I mean, this platform could have been probably a little bit more different. I mean, maybe there could have been some more lost that got found. You know what I mean? If I didn't lean on my own understanding.
Well, I think too that you probably got excited. You were wanting to leave the career that you were in, and this gave you the opportunity. You're like, wow, maybe I can really do this. And then, you know, you get the stars in your.
It took a long time, actually. It took.
But I mean, but still, it kind of gave you that hope that, wow, maybe I can do this. And
see, I didn't want to be known for making content for the sole purpose of like it being about me or exploiting people. Like, that was like a big thing to me. It's like, you know, I don't want people to look at me like that, because this is not why I do what I do. You know what I mean? Because, you know, even Jesus himself, he said, you know, don't let, what is it, the left hand know what the right hand's doing.
Right.
Or,
right.
you know, don't
glorify the things that you do like that. But that's not what you were doing.
No.
Unfortunately, you allowed what the world was saying overshadow what God was saying. Because
I think in the right mindset, you know, you're able to do just that without any self glorification. But there are some people that will do things for their own financial gain.
I know people. I mean, I can name a half a dozen people that I've unfollowed over the years on social media, because every time they do a good deed, they post
They're bragging about it.
Like, okay, you know, that's not, but you know what the Bible says about that? If you get the glorification here, you won't get it in heaven.
Well, I mean, the Bible's very clear about not showcasing your deeds.
Oh, you can, but if you do, you're not going to get the rewards in heaven. Because you already got your reward.
That's why I decided not to do those kind of videos, because I was like, you know, I don't want to be seen by God. You know,
but again, he knew your heart. So the way you're seen by people and the way you're seen by God, like, God knows our heart. So he knew your heart was not doing it to glorify yourself.
It took a long time to understand that.
Yeah.
I think I've realized that more so now than before, because there was a lot of positive things that came out of that. Like, for example, I was at this homeless outreach one day, and this wasn't even on video. I was just there, and we were giving out shoes to. I think it might have been like I showed a little bit, like on a vlog, like, hey, this is what we're doing. And there was people that were coming, like followers of mine, and they were washing people's feet. I had people from my church that I was going to come in and praying for people. I mean, it was awesome. But anyways, we reached this young kid that had been homeless for like a couple years now, and I recognized this kid. I used to work in this salon, and this kid was a foster child, and he would come get his hair cut with me. And I was in shock that he was homeless. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're like 19 years old?
Mm.
And he was homeless. That same day that he saw us doing what we were doing. And I mean, here's the thing. There's some people out there that are homeless because perhaps they have felt like the world's given up on them, and God's never given up on people. We give up on God. God does not give up on us. But even when the world gives up on you, just know you're not alone. And I think he realized that he wasn't alone in that moment, and he came out of homelessness. Because sometimes there's people that, they have an open door.
Right.
And a lot of homeless people that I've talked to a lot of them, and I would say about 85% of them are usually addicted to something, whether it be alcohol, drugs. It's usually, a lot of it's drugs and alcohol. And their family kind of gives up on them, and I mean, I've had family members and till this day, I got family members in that same boat. But this poor kid, like, when he saw that there was people there for him, not giving up on him, he decided to open that door. Because the thing is there's going to be people out there when you are homeless that they have an avenue for you, whether it be like some sort of work, and they just kind of reject it. They reject that help that is offered to them because they don't want to be let down.
Right.
And he was in that situation. And because of us ministering to him and him recognizing me and, us just talking, he got out of homelessness that day. He got out of, I wouldn't say he got out of it that same day, but the healing process started for his addiction, and he started working, and he was no longer homeless after that. I pray that he's doing well. Hopefully he's watching this video. I'm not going to say his name, but you never know, just from a simple conversation with someone. And I've been a part of a couple things like that, just simple things.
So have I. What's so funny is, I don't even know if you know this. Like, I probably have pictures. I know I have pictures. But years ago, when I was full on in hair, makeup, and wardrobe, doing shoots with photographers all over the place, right? So there was Jeremy Cowart is a very well-known photographer. He shoots a lot of celebrities. He lives in Tennessee. A lot of, country singers, stuff like that. Phenomenal photographer, humongous heart for God and also just for people and spreading like joy and happiness and everything else. He's going through something really, really difficult in his own life right now with health, but he had this thing called the Health Portrait. And I was one of the makeup artists that was invited or asked to come and do this. And so it was a bunch of very, very good photographers from all over the world that would come and do these all over the world, all over the country and all over the world. And they would set up, he's the one that started it, but it was like they would go to these places, and it could be anything. The one that I was involved in for a couple of years was a home, basically a halfway house for people who were coming out of addiction. And it was for women. 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 And it we would go with, I mean, talking printers, the whole 9 yards, all the photography equipment, the makeup artists and hairstylists, and we would do these, make them look beautiful and take a professional photo over them. And we would print the photos right there. Whoa. On, like, you wouldn't believe the manpower we had to have to make this happen. And this was happening all over the country, but Jeremy started this. And I was involved in that for a couple of years. And it was so awesome because, you know, to take these people who were, some of them had been homeless and they had, you know, been in bad addictions. And this was a halfway house because they had been put in jail or whatever, all these things. And it was such an amazing thing to do. And I did it for a few years. I think he eventually, I don't think it's still going on now, but for many, many years, he did this, and he was a pioneer of that kind of thing. But it was an amazing experience. And I remember just like being able to share about God as I'm sitting there doing their makeup in this intimate setting, you know, as a hairdresser, as a makeup artist. And it was just so cool. And I remember this one lady, I can still see her face. And she was like, nobody's ever talked to me about God before. And she's like, I'm not going to do drugs anymore. And she was struggling, and she admitted that she'd been in and out of the drug thing several times. And I told her, I said, I'll find you. I'll find you if I see, you know, it was just kind of funny, but just the impact you can have on somebody's life just by sharing something. And I prayed with her, and another girl that was with another makeup artist saw me praying for her and came over and asked me to pray for her.
Isn't it amazing how open someone that is broken is to prayer versus someone who, for example, has it all?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, I'll give you an example. 99% of the homeless people that I washed their feet and had a conversation with them and asked them if I can pray for them said yes. Mm-hmm. If you were to ask some random person on the street that's, I don't know, just any random people, I mean, you know what? We should do an experiment.
Oh my gosh. My mind's going to, I was like thinking, oh, what a cool, that would be like a cool documentary to do. Just go out and like walk around and go, hey, can I pray for you? You know, and be like, what? People would think you were so strange. But it would be interesting to see how many people just out in like walking in a street, like the streets of New York or something, or in downtown Tampa or something like that, just to stop and go, you know, hey, can I pray for you?
And then, you know what? Go and do that to some homeless people that have nothing.
Yeah.
Go do it to some people that, and you know what? The people that sometimes you think have things together are the most broken in spirit. And there's probably somebody watching this video right now that you are trying to keep it together. You're trying to stay so strong on your own, and you know that you are just falling apart inside. And there's people like that well, my light just turned off.
That's okay.
But you know what?
We still got enough light.
Your light is about to turn on right now, if that's you. Well, we got some studio lighting in right here. If you're not able to watch us on YouTube, just kind of shut off. But imagine going to one of those people and be like, hey, can I pray for you? And I mean, they just absolutely lose it.
Well, you know? It's because so many people are walking around with this mask on, and they're trying to pretend they have it all together, but they don't. And internally, they're falling apart. And a lot of people are not willing to show that. They don't want people to know because, and I think this happens, I know this happens with men, but I think it happens a lot with women because we're supposed to hold it all together. You know, we're supposed to like stay strong. But you know what? No matter whether you're a man or a woman, you can only stay strong on your own for so long.
And that's another reason why you should not give up on prayer. It's okay to not have it all together. It's okay to realize that in that state of being broken and taking that weight of the world on your shoulders, to realize, hey, I just can't do this anymore. I can't, and I'm not saying to give up. I'm not saying that. And I'm sure there's a lot of you that are waiting to reach that point. And I mean, just like the person shared this comment, like they were just ready they reached the end of themselves, and they thought that them having no pain, and this is beyond me. And I'm going to say something that's probably going to upset a couple people, but I feel like it has to be said. And I've been there before. I've been in that moment where I was doing my best, but I mean, your best is just not good enough to get you where you need to be in your state of happiness and peacefulness and less anxiety and less depression. I was wanting to take my own life at one point, a couple times, because I thought that this was the answer. Not having the pain is the answer. And that is the biggest lie out of the pit of hell. Do you not realize that pain, this is an everlasting pain we're talking about, because there is somewhere eternal. When we put that in our own hands, and this is not, I don't know when it comes to your relationship with God, okay? I'll make a video on this if you want me to in the future, specifically talking about suicide. But people think that they're going to be ending the pain, not realizing that the pain that they were in was a temporary pain, and now they sealed their fate to eternal pain, thinking that they're trying to get away from the pain that this world has to offer.
Well, and the thing is most of the time when someone is in that moment of wanting to take their life, I don't know it personally, but I know you and I have talked about, your experiences, and I have people that I know. One of my really good friends, Danielle, has been in that position, and most of the time it's emotional pain. And it's emotional pain from experiences that they've been through. But
a breakups,
maybe they were abused sexually. Maybe they were in a bad relationship and they were abused that way. Maybe they just feel hopeless and worthless. Maybe they have parents. Yeah, I mean, there's so many reasons why people come to this moment in their life where,
and it's such a
they
lie.
feel, sometimes it's grief, but it's emotional pain. And you're going to trade that worldly emotional pain. Yeah, the emotional pain at that moment will be gone, but you're trading it for a lifetime of physical, eternal, never-ending pain. And emotional pain can be healed.
Well, not only that, think about the pain that it causes the people that you left also.
Right. So
I've seen people lose people, and it's devastating.
Yeah, you're putting this lady that wrote to us, she's in so much pain that she can't even conjure up the ability to go get her grandchildren and fight for them. But you're taking away your emotional pain and inflicting it on everybody you leave behind.
And this life wasn't given to us for us to take in our own hands.
It's not our life. It's not our life.
We're
living it, but it's not. It doesn't belong to us.
No, it doesn't. It's okay though to not have it all together. I'll tell you what's not okay though, is thinking that you are going to fix yourself on your own. Doesn't work like that. We need a heavenly, divine connection, true peace, true happiness, true healing comes through Jesus Christ, comes through salvation. It comes through true repentance.
It comes through shifting the weight from your shoulders to the person who can handle the problem. We can't handle these problems, these, and you know what's so great? Like I I can honestly say that I grew to the point of spiritual maturity a few years ago where I was like, I don't do this. Like, here, it's yours. Like, I don't want the weight. And that's our Father loves that. God loves when we go, you know what? I don't want this. You take it. And this can be something super simple, other than cleaning your house, ladies. Sorry, I don't think God will clean your house, um, but something super simple all the way up to something massive. He wants to be there for you in the little things, not just in the big things. And he will show up for those little things. And so sometimes we think that we have to save the big stuff for God and we have to handle all the little stuff on our own. Well, I got news for you. If the little stuff is overwhelming you, he wants to be there for you in those times too.
You know what? I think we don't really ask this question enough. And I think you should ask yourself this very same question. Everything that you go through, your day-to-day activities, your work, your life, everything that you do, what is the purpose? What is the sole purpose behind? What is your end goal? Isn't everybody's goal to be happy?
So that's what they think they want. But this is what I believe. We all have happiness. It's a choice. It's not a destination. What people want.
True happiness.
No, what people want is joy.
What's the difference? We were talking about this the other night.
I know, but I get all into, well, that's another video. That's another video. Happiness versus joy. I think we need to just leave it there for that.
Well, I mean, when I speak about happiness, I'm speaking about joy. I'm speaking about peace. I'm speaking about connection with relationships, connection with like with God on a personal. I mean, it just happiness to me is just so many things. It's something that doesn't true happiness.
Okay.
So I mean, is joy?
So I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna break it down for you in a Cliff Note version.
I mean, you could have happiness by, like, for example, riding your bike and watching the sunset.
Okay, so I know that this is gonna sound crazy.
And that's happiness, like, on a scale of 1 through 3. So I mean, is joy like happiness out of 10?
Mm-mm. Joy. So happiness is, people think of happiness as a destination, right? They think of, if I have this, I'll be happy.
If I have money, I'll be
happy. If I have this, I'll be happy. The idea of happy to everyone is different, but it all boils down to feeling fulfilled.
Yeah.
Okay. But joy is having a warmth, and even in the most difficult times, I'll give an example for myself. You wouldn't consider, if somebody said, my mom died, but I'm still happy, that would seem a little odd, right?
Yeah.
But if I said, my mom passed away and I'm sad, but I still find joy in the fact that I know she's in heaven.
Right. This is temporary.
So joy is more of a feeling of comfort and knowing that even amongst all the stuff, you can still have a place of, I guess, kind of like what most people think happiness is. You know, joy is saying I can still find positive in the darkest moment. So for me, happiness is more of, smiling and laughing, and that's what happiness is. Just carefree, everything great. See, happy to me isn't peace, but happy is just like fun. I think of happiness as fun and not having trouble. But with joy, you can have trouble and still find joy within that trouble. It's a very deep conversation. Like, to go to that, those I used to think just like you, like happiness and joy are the same thing. Like, what's the difference? There is a big difference, but it's very it's can be complicated to explain.
Well, I mean, as far as the actual English word,
Well, it's just what people think because it's
right.
different for everybody.
I look at happiness being very different to others. Like you said, some people are searching for that happiness in the form of, what can I get? And, this is going to make me happy, and material things.
If I only had a husband, if I only had a wife, and
if I only had whiter teeth, if I only had a 6-pack, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I only had less gas.
What's for those of you who are new listeners, you won't get that, but watch a few of his videos and you'll totally understand. But I will say too is that I lost my train of thought when you said the gas thing. You lost me. Oh my gosh, I had something cool to say, but it was the giggle happened. I don't know.
Well, I'm not trying to gaslight you or anything.
Oh my goodness.
So we were talking about happiness and
I know.
Joy.
It was one of those fleeting thoughts. I had it and then just.
Well, maybe it come to you.
Maybe.
But whatever your happy place, destination, you think that you are trying to get to, I promise that when you get there, if it does not involve your creator, you are going to be let down. And I'm telling you this from experience. I'm telling you this all you got to do is look around. We were kind of touching on this subject, talking about how like certain rock stars and certain movie stars, they're giving the whole world. There's a song that I've heard before, and it said, I don't want to gain the whole world and lose my soul. Because there is a verse in the Bible that talks about like, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul in the end? It goes to show you, it's not like condemning somebody that has been given a lot, but, sometimes there's people out there that they're trying to chase this goal of happiness in the form of fame, in the form of, I don't know, whatever the case.
All kinds of stuff.
Just chasing money, chasing love, chasing drug addiction, or whatever the case. And they never find that true joy or true happiness. And then what happens in the end? They lose their soul anyways. You know what I mean? And were they truly happy? No. We were talking about this. There's certain actors that my heart breaks because I love them as actors, but they were given everything. And what do they end up doing? End up dying to drug addiction or taking their own lives. It's a very sad story. And we've seen this on so many occasions when honestly, all they had to do to reach that true happiness, to reach that true joy, was pray.
Well, joy is a fruit of the Spirit.
Or at least start to pray.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are like, you're wondering, maybe you've never heard of what prayer is. Prayer is a conversation. It's nothing religious. It's not something that,
there's no rules to it even.
I've seen it in certain churches where they have these like, I don't know, it's like there's a huge difference between religion and reality, and religion and relationship. And if you're just reading something and you're just like a robot reading this, that's not a true prayer. A prayer is a conversation. I'll give you an example, okay? If I'm having a conversation with Shelly, how would you feel if I just picked up some random magazine and you thought I was having a conversation with you, but I'm reading what's here? Like I'm trying to do a pickup line on you by reading this. I'm like,
right. You know
what I mean? Like you'd be kind of turned off. You know what I mean? So, doesn't God maybe look at people the same way? Like if they're just reading words and not actually communicating?
Well, it's because that's ritualistic. So a lot of religion.
So prayer is not that.
Yeah.
It's not a ritual.
It's not a ritual. So it's not something you have to do. It's something you should want to do. And it's something you should want to do to thank your God for all of the things that he's given you, and to go to him to ask him questions. I treat God like a best friend. I've laughed at myself sometimes at the way that I talk with God. It's like he's just hanging out with me, and I'm like, today's really not fun. This is not a good day for me. So like, gonna need to help me get through this day, or
it's a conversation.
It's a conversation. Don't make it complicated.
And you know what? Like, we were talking about this the other day, and we're like, think about, I mean, God is God. He's the everlasting. He's the Alpha, the Omega. He's the beginning. He's the end. Like, he is the all-knowing. He is everything. But I mean, do we ever just like sometimes have a conversation with God, like, hey God, I'm tired of like whining about my life. Like, how you doing today?
Or even just saying,
I mean, we know he's all right. He's good.
What can we're always, people always go to God for what they want. It's like, have you ever said, hey God, what can I do for you today?
What can I do for you? How can I
what can I do for you today? Like, what would you like? How would you like to use me today? I started doing that about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's amazing when you pray for that, like what he will do. And if you pay attention, you'll be like, oh, he just used me right now. It's pretty cool. And if you're one of those people
and it makes them happy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And if you're one of those people that is looking for purpose, like, talk about purpose. Like, when you know that your God thinks so highly of you that he will use you, you'll never feel worthless again.
And you know what? Some of the people that are the most humble are usually the people that don't really have anything. And the people that are willing to serve the most are the ones that they themselves are going through something. But when they find that purpose, it
brings them joy.
It brings them joy. And I mean, you wouldn't think so. But I mean, in this time where I only had $100 in my bank account, and I was like, hey, you know what? I just want to give some homeless people some shoes. I found purpose, and I created purpose for others. You know what I mean? It wasn't something that I did for myself, but it was like God blessed me hardcore. I had a lot more than $100 later on.
Yeah. If you're feeling really worthless, and you're feeling really hopeless, and you feel like you have absolutely no purpose, do something for someone else. Do something for someone else. And if you have no money, that's okay. You don't have to have money. Go mow somebody's lawn. Go,
I like that.
Go pull some weeds out of somebody's yard that has a lot of weeds. I mean, you can do random stuff.
Just go talk.
Just an act of kindness, an act of service. Give somebody a compliment in the line at the grocery store. Like, I remember one day I was behind this lady, and she just had like this frazzled look about her, but she had on the nicest shoes. And I was like, I love your shoes. And I just liked her shoes. They got my attention, and I said that. And she was like almost in tears for me giving her that compliment. It was the weirdest thing, because I'm just thinking, I like your shoes. They're really pretty. But she apparently was going through something in that moment. And just me acknowledging that she had on nice shoes, like, kind of moved her in a way that I never would have expected. So giving somebody a compliment.
I'm going to remind you of something you probably forgot about, but you're going to remember. So Shelly does this very often, and I find it so admirable. But we were at some sort of a restaurant, or maybe we're at a coffee shop, and there was this beautiful elderly woman. And you were like, she is so beautiful. And she told this woman how beautiful she was. And I mean, she had this beautiful silver, and it was short, but her hair was so pretty. And she was a very attractive elderly woman.
I remember that.
And she was very well dressed, very elegant, and
she was by herself.
She was by herself. And Shelly, it was so sad. This woman, after receiving this compliment, she had told her, and she was looking out the window, she had told her that she had just lost her husband. And it was very touching.
That was one of the places that we were eating breakfast, and she would go there with her husband to eat breakfast. And so she was sitting at this table, and I mean, she was beautiful. She was this beautiful lady. And I'm like,
I mean, Shelly had no idea. She just complimented her I mean, and here's a woman that's trying to keep it together, completely broken, and I don't know if you had given her a hug or I mean,
She asked if she could give me a hug after I gave her
she was so moved just by this simple compliment, and she needed it. So, I mean, just like Shelly said, there's things you could do. It's not about money.
Well, the funny thing is we're sitting there and I'm watching this lady, and I said to him, she is so beautiful. The whole time we were sitting there eating, and I'm like, I think I want to tell her how beautiful she is, because she was stunning. She was absolutely stunning. And I know that might sound weird to some people, but it's just like, she looked like a movie star to me, like somebody who might have been a movie star at one point. She was just so beautiful, and she was so well dressed and so different than anybody else in there. Had beautiful jewelry on, and she was just, yeah. And I said, I think I'm going to tell her how beautiful she is. I said, do you think that's weird?
And little did you know.
And he kind of was like, well, I mean, you weren't really sure. You thought it was a little bit weird, to be honest with you, but I'm weird. I don't care. I embrace my weird. But I felt so strongly that I needed to tell this woman this, that when she stood up to leave and started to walk by, I stopped her. And I was like, I just want to tell you you're so beautiful. Like, I didn't even know how to really say it. And then it was crazy. It was crazy. So
she uplifted her.
That is a moment when you feel those nudges to do something like that. Don't worry about how weird it might be.
Like praying.
Or like praying for a random stranger. Like, just do it.
And you know what? Like, I
don't ignore those things.
Wish I can go back. And when she told us that she had lost her husband, I wish I could have prayed for her.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's so many missed opportunities that we could think of. So, I mean, if the Holy Spirit's kind of reaching out to you, like, hey, I know you're going through something right now, but you'd be surprised how God will use those who are broken to repair other broken people. Not hurt people. There's a saying out there that hurt people. How different would this world be if hurt people
helped people?
And I mean, there's a lot of people out there doing just that. If you go to some of these soup kitchens that I visited before, some of the people themselves that were serving other homeless people food, they themselves were homeless.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very touching.
It's just, there's always opportunity. There's always go volunteer. I mean, go visit. My gosh, one of the most forgotten groups of people are elderly people in nursing homes.
Oh my!
Half of them have nobody.
They love just sit there and talk with one of them,
and bring a child to see them.
Oh my God!
They love children.
So anyways. Prayer, it's a conversation with God. I'm going to throw a couple verses at you here on the screen in Philippians 4:6-7. Do not be anxious about anything. This is to me, okay? I'm the most anxious person in the world, or I was. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, the what?
The peace of God.
If y'all didn't know, God is very peaceful. What's the word that comes to you that also starts with a P that kind of goes with peaceful? Patience. God is, have you ever heard the term, the patience of God? Someone to be that peaceful, to have that much patience. I mean, if Jesus came a year ago, I'd be sitting in hell today. That was God being patient with me. That was God being patient with you. That was the peace of God. Forgiveness. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus.
Anxiety is thoughts. It's negative thoughts.
And it can affect your body. I mean, I've seen that before where an anxiety attack just comes out of nowhere, but sometimes anxiety attacks can come from past trauma that happened maybe even a year prior.
or it can actually be trauma all the way dated back to their childhood.
So how do I pray? How do I get this conversation going with God? Psalm 145 is for you. Verse 18. The Lord is near to all who call on him, to all who call on him in truth. So what exactly does that mean, calling out to God in truth? That means calling out to him humbly, calling out to him truthfully, like I'm having this conversation with you. It's genuine. It's not ritualistic. It's not something that I'm just reading and reciting and just,
Because you're supposed to.
because I'm supposed to in a religious fashion. I'm genuinely seeking God with all my heart.
Right.
And this is how you have to pray.
Mm.
And I think this is why the most broken people end up finding God and finding that peace later on, is because they've reached that point. They've reached the end of themselves. They're not going through this beautiful time in their life where they've reached the end. They're broken.
Isn't it ironic how a lot of people won't go to God until they reach that point, when it's so comforting when you're on this side of Christianity to realize that you can go to him with anything.
You can.
You don't
We're going to have ups and downs in this.
Yeah, I mean, God, give me the strength to do this laundry. Like, I know that sounds silly, but he wants to be there with you in those moments. Help me keep a positive attitude while these kids are driving me nuts. I mean, real life things and
everyday life.
Everyday life. I talk to him all day long in my mind and my mouth. Get me through today.
Just to kind of piggyback, because remember we were talking about like just ritualistic type prayers. Well,
Yeah.
Jesus actually taught against this and he warned against this in Matthew 6:5-8. Because during this time, there was a ton of religious people that they would pray. These were like the cool people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it was like they were trying to pray to look cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was by far no genuine connection to God.
Is that like those people? We all know somebody like this, especially if you go to church. Is that like the people that's at the Bible study that their whole Bible's highlighted, but they have like zero relationship with God?
There's people that have read the Bible front to back several times.
They can recite Bible verses out of their mouths with no problem, but yet they don't live. It's so funny. There's people like that, and that's what that was. It's empty prayer.
Jesus said it very bluntly. He said, when you pray, do not be like what? The hypocrites. Don't be a hypocrite. For they love to pray standing in the synagogues, on the street corners, to be seen by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, because people, they were asking me, hey, how do you pray? And it's very simple. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like pagans, for they think they will be heard because of their many words. All right, so
that's saying keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Don't think you have to. And a lot of people think that they have to make prayer so fancy, because if you've ever been around someone who says a prayer that you're just like, wow,
I mess up when I pray. I'll tell you right now, you might see a couple cuts.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I just don't want to have that space. But when I'm praying to God, I don't mean to cut you off. When I'm praying to God, it's like a regular conversation. When you're on the phone with somebody, when there's just like that awkward silence. Sometimes there's some of that awkward silence with my prayers to God. Like I'll just be like, so, oh yeah, yeah, you remember that time that I fell off my bike? And I'm just kind of saying something random there, but I mean, it's that, like Shelly said, very simple. What were you gonna say?
I don't remember now.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
But anyway, this says, "For your Father knows what you need before you ask him.
Okay.
This then is how you should pray." And this is considered to be the Lord's Prayer, which a lot of people will just say this prayer when they're praying to God. And I mean, hey, if you mean it with all your heart, I guess that's okay. But Jesus wasn't telling you to pray these exact words. But you could learn a thing or two by these words. So, "Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we also have forgiven our debtors." So in this prayer right here, he's basically glorifying God the Father. There's forgiveness, repentance in this prayer. This is how to pray in a nutshell. You know what I mean? This is a conversation with God, but
it's an example. It's an example of, it's more like a structural thing, like the things that
it's an example. Yeah,
it's just an example.
But what I find most intriguing about this prayer that I think a lot of people miss the mark on is, this is a humble prayer. But what does this prayer start out with? Glorifying God. You know what I mean? Like, hey, God, like, I acknowledge that you're there. You are beautiful. You're wonderful. You know what I mean? Like, if I look to you and I'm saying, "Hey, babe, make me a sandwich." And I will say, "Hey, babe, you're so beautiful." Sometimes I'll say that before I say, "Hey, make me a sandwich." You know what I mean? Like,
You say that all the time. You don't just say that to get me to make you a
I'm
sandwich.
kidding. I'm kidding. I don't. She's a great cook, by the way. But I mean, this is what he was, as an example, saying to do. So I mean, there's
a lot of people take the Bible literally, and it's very metaphorical, and there's a lot of examples in it as far as just the way people live, the way people prayed, the way people meditated, the way people, spent time alone, whatever it was. So there's just a lot of different ways to interpret what's in the Bible. And I have always told people, just take it for what it is for you. If you have no idea to pray and you don't know what to say and you want a guide, you can say this prayer verbatim. But if you do that, just make sure that you're feeling it and you're not just giving it empty words. And I think that's the point.
right.
Is
Don't speak to God with empty words.
Don't
Speak to him
from the heart.
From the heart.
Because he knows your heart. And honestly, I can share with you, I'm known to say some long prayers or some very mean. My friend asks me to pray all the time when we go to her house, but for dinner. But when I was going through cancer, some days I just woke up, I didn't have the words, but the words that I felt were the most important things to say, and I've shared this with you, is when you have nothing else to say, you can just wake up and say, "God, thank you for this breath. I trust you today in everything that I do." Or you can just say, "God, I trust you." And that's all. Like, that's a prayer.
And this is praying with the right heart, praying also with faith. And Mark 11:24 says, "Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." Have you ever said a prayer like that? Like you know that you've already received it?
I absolutely have.
I think it's hard for a lot of us.
Mark 11, you see, I had written Mark down before. Mark 11:24 was a verse that I stood on so strongly.
Like, have that faith.
No, because it's like I'm and that is how you find joy in difficult times, guys. So if you pray with expectation of that prayer to be answered. Now, I will tell you, it may not be answered when you want it to be answered, because we're on God's clock, not our clock. But if you pray with that expectation that at some point in your life, this will be answered, you can find joy in those moments, because you can go, "You know what? I'm going to ask this and I know I'm going to get it. I'm going to say this with expectation." And what's so powerful about that is that once you pray with that expectation, you can let it go. Because you know that it's going to be answered. And the failure that we have is we want it in our time. But it will be in God's perfect time, and it will happen. If you pray with that expectation, it's a promise. It is a promise that you can stand on, that that prayer will be answered.
And I'm going to kind of piggyback off what Shelly's saying right here and into another way to look at this. But I mean, God doesn't always answer your prayers, just like us as parents aren't always going to give our children everything that they ask for. Why? Because we know that perhaps this is not good for them right now. For example, your 16-year-old kid wants to get his driver's license when he turns 16, but he might have taken your car a couple times beforehand, and you're like, you know what? This is a bad idea for him to get his license. Plus, I want to kind of show him a lesson of patience, and I want him to know that what he did was wrong, and I am not answering that prayer right now. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
well, sometimes God answers our prayers through an unanswered prayer.
Yes.
Because
that's what I wanted to talk about, unanswered prayers.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's unanswered prayers that you'll look back in the future and be like, thank you, God, for not answering that prayer. If that makes any sense at all.
I don't know if anybody has, I would love to hear in the comments if anybody like me has kept a prayer journal before, where you actually write down the date that you prayed for something. Because something that I started doing that about 6 years ago. I haven't done it much this year, honestly, because this year has just been kind of a lot of things going on. But prayer journals are so cool because you can literally look at what you prayed for. And I have multiple times been like, oh, I prayed for this, but this prayer back here contradicted this one. So it was like I was praying for this, and I was also praying for this, and they contradicted each other. And I've also found where my prayers were answered, but it was a prayer from several years ago. And it's just so cool to keep prayer journals. Now, obviously, if you're praying like multiple times a day, it's kind of unrealistic to do that. But if you can just like jot down notes, it's really cool to see. And then when you're feeling like God's never answered your prayers, you can flip back through that book and man, he answers my prayers all the time. And it's so encouraging to do that. It's an amazing thing to do.
There could be people watching this video right now that have been praying for maybe a broken relationship to be repaired, and God's not answering that prayer because maybe that relationship is no good for you. And I'm not talking about a marriage. I mean, it could be so many things. It could be a relationship with a second cousin. It could be a friendship. We had this prayer not long ago where we had prayed.
I had encouraged you to pray.
And I was quite shocked how this prayer not only was answered, but how it ended. And I was a little heartbroken at the same time, but maybe this is a prayer for you. Ask God to eliminate the people that shouldn't be there in your life. Maybe it's the people that are creating a barrier between you and your joy. Maybe it's a barrier between you and God. Maybe they're not helping your addiction problem. They're not helping your problem with bitterness, forgiveness, whatever the case.
Maybe they're pulling you away from the things that you need to be focused on, I mean, there's all kinds of situations where, we allow people to pull us away from what we really need to be doing. And those types of people that'll make you feel guilty if you don't meet them for lunch, or if you that kind of thing,
Well, check this out. When I said this prayer, some of the closest people that I thought were close to me, they I I thought that there was something wrong with me. I genuinely thought that I think I'd even at one point I was even questioning if maybe I had some sort of narcissistic trait
Yeah.
because oh my gosh, like all these people literally just vanished from my life. And I was questioning, like, I mean, is there something wrong with me because of this? But it was God
Yeah. I told him, I said, remember the
literally
prayer?
eliminating them from my
I
life.
said, remember the prayer that I said? I just asked God to remove people from your life that don't belong there because, you'll have people pull you off his path throughout your life. And you may not even realize it, that that's what's happened. And if you pray that prayer, it's very powerful, but be prepared
Yeah,
to be surprised like you were.
you will be surprised and you will question yourself. But if you maybe look back at the prayer journal and see that, hey, why are these people leaving my life? I mean, you're going to see if you give it a little bit of time, if you have that peace, if you have that patience, that there was a purpose why that happened. And there was a purpose why those people, or I mean, it was meant to be that those people aren't in your life anymore. There's people of value in this world. And I mean, and this is why a lot of you probably watching have a very small circle. I mean, we as humans, we fail people. I, I've hurt people before. She's hurt people. I mean, we've all made mistakes, but I'm not going to be around people that are causing me to hurt time and time and time and time again. Do I forgive them? Of course I forgive them. And honestly, just recently, I even reached out to people that I was kind of bitter towards. They were bringing me down as a person. I still was like, hey, look, I love you. And I mean, I forgive you. I mean, hey, I'm cool with you. You know what I mean? As if nothing happened.
You made amends. You reached out to make amends with people that you knew in your heart that you had some bitterness towards because you didn't want to carry that around.
And
It's heavy.
there's
It's heavy.
people out there that they will use you and they will just take and take and take and take. And the moment that you're not able to offer whatever it is they were taking from you, they just disappear anyways. And I mean, I've had people like that come and go from my life. And it's hard not to be a little bit upset and be like, wow, like this is why you wanted a friendship with me. You're just trying to gain something from it. Like I love people for who they are. I don't love people for what they can do for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't love God for what he can do for me. He does a lot for me, but I just love him. When you start praying, when you start getting close to God, there are going to be some people in your own household that will hate it and they will test you with it. And I mean, it's the devil. It is in the Bible that will happen. There will be separation. There will be people that hate you for it, for that peace. Honestly, it's kind of weird because like you don't really see that in any other religions, but Christianity. This is love. It's literally pure love. There's nothing. It's just the most gentle, most beautiful thing, and it's hated by everyone that doesn't have it. In 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18, it says, rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all. So, I mean, that's another way to pray. Always giving thanks, always being grateful, even though you're going through something. Okay, be grateful, be thankful, because there's always somebody out there less fortunate than you. I mean, like I was saying earlier, like, do you ever thank God for just, I know this might sound silly, but just for something as simple as having kidneys? There's people out there waiting for a kidney transplant. People that their life is depending on having a kidney. And I mean, it's like, I know this is going to sound weird, but there's times where I'm going pee and I'm thanking God at the same time that I'm able to pee and thank you, God, for my kidneys. I know that might sound weird, but like I had a grandfather that had, he had a kidney removed.
Mm.
And I actually, as a teenager, I was going to donate my kidney to my grandfather. There was just no, like, of course, like, yeah, like if it's going to help you, I'll, and he didn't need it. But I mean, that was, I forgot about that. Honestly, I couldn't, like, what was I thinking? You know, as a teenager, I'm going to give up one of my organs, but absolutely for my grandpa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do it for you. I do it for anybody that really needs it. I mean, I got another one, you know what I mean? As long as that, but I mean, do you just sit there and do you thank God for the small things that are actually big things? Like having a set of kidneys, you know, like having a set of lungs to take in some air. I mean,
eyes to see.
Oh man. I mean, my boy James, he's lost
Struggling.
his eyesight. And I mean, he's struggling because the little bit of eyesight that he has left in his right eye is, I mean, it's down like to, I think 10 or 20%. And he's going to be completely blind one day. And I mean, like, do you ever thank God for being able to see? You know, I mean, just simple things. But I mean, most of all, have you thanked him for being alive today? Have you thanked him for having a mother, having a father? I mean, I lost my mother a couple years ago, and we were talking about this the other day. Have you ever lost a loved one? And most of the time, most people, when they lose a loved one, they're cursing God. They're upset. Why did you take him away from me? There's no God. Yada, yada, yada. Have you ever thanked God after losing a loved one for the time you had with them? And that's one thing that me, myself, I did not do. I was so hurt when my mom died, when honestly, I should have, right when that happened, thanked God for the time I had with my mom and for giving me a mother in the first place. You know how many people don't have moms?
Well, they have moms, but they don't have moms in their life.
Well,
or
that too.
or who.
Babe, we were just talking about these 4 little boys that don't have a mother.
Yeah, we don't know.
And they just
we don't know what the situation is.
They just lost their father.
Yeah.
Well, if they're in foster care, they don't have a mother. I don't know if their mother passed away. I don't know if
Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't know if their mother is just not able to take care of them, not involved. Maybe she's a drug addict. We don't know.
But I mean, have you thanked God for your earthly parents that he gave you? And for, I mean, and I know a lot of people have like an estranged relationship with their parents too. And maybe they don't even like their parents or whatever, but you know what? There's always someone out there I feel God puts in their life, whether it's their grandfather or their aunt or uncle, or it could have even been a foster parent, you know, that became their mother, that became their father. And you know what? If you're an orphan, maybe you never had that also.
You've got a heavenly father.
You have a heavenly father. He's there. He's your parent. He's your guide. He's the father.
And the cool thing is, the advantage is he knows everything.
I want to challenge you, if you've never done this before. Maybe you've prayed in the past, but you haven't been consistent with it. I want you to start a 30-day prayer journal. And you could go to the Dollar Tree, you go anywhere. You can even pull up like a notebook app on your phone. Most people have phones today, right? There has to be an app you could download where you could take notes. Take notes on your prayers. And you know, I mean, honestly, you don't even have to do that. Maybe just mark it on your calendar. I challenge you to pray every single morning and every single night. Morning, right when you wake up in the morning, okay? And before you go to bed. And do it for 30 days. And let me know if your life has changed on day 31.
Let us know what prayers were answered in those 30 days.
So I usually pray at the end of these videos, but being that this was about how to pray, and maybe there's people watching this video that have never prayed before, maybe they've never trusted in prayer, and I know that I kind of threw a wrench at you with saying, you should pray for 30 days and try it out. And I'd still really feel like I was led to tell you that and for you to try it out. But you know what? We're going to do something different. For those, actually, anybody, even if you're really good at praying or if you're not good at praying, I'm going to close my eyes. Shelly's going to close her eyes. And I want you to pray. And whatever you're praying, I want you to know that I'm there with you and God's listening. Shelly's there with you and God's listening. The Bible says that wherever there's two or more in his name, he is in the midst of them. So we're going to hold hands and just, hey, I'm going to hold your hand right now. Just reach out and just hold my hand, hold Shelly's hand. And I want you to reach out to your Creator.
And just pray. Whatever's on your mind.
Whatever's on your mind, just go ahead and speak.
We're going to bow our heads right now. And it's go time.